Hey, what's up everybody? This is Jostrick501 and today I want to go over the newest captain's log, the 19th captain log, the golden age of piracy. If you don't know what the captain's logs posts are, they're basically kind of like blog posts by Jet, the community manager, that goes over just tons of stuff, kind of how they're looking at the game, update stuff, new stuff that will be coming out soon. They usually show some new stuff as they have here. This one also goes into more their philosophy about building the game and how they're changing their philosophy and how they're balancing the game. So there could be some very good stuff for the game if they go about it the right way. And how they're talking about it, hopefully it seems they might be going how the players kind of want it to go a bit more. But we have to see the actual patch notes when this stuff starts getting implemented. Over the past week, the crew has been engaged in deep discussion over our core design and philosophy of the game. We'll be making changes based on your feedback and our internal reviews over the past 5 weeks. This captain's log is going to go take a high-level look at our plans going forward. The golden age of piracy. We recognize that the game has a lot of fun mechanics and gameplay that players enjoy, especially when you can live out your dreams of being a pirate. However, the feedback we often receive is that it's too tailored to large companies, alpha groups, and hardcore players. A large number of you express you are unable to make enough progress to reach this stage of the game due to our hardcore design. Our thinking going forward with the community's help and feedback, we plan to make the game less punishing and reduce the steep climb required for players to reach the parts of the game which make it special. This means we're going to be changing core systems to ensure that those who do not have much time, investment, or play in small groups or as a solo player are still able to experience the high seas of Atlas. For those of you in large companies, worry not, as you are still a fundamental part of the design and key to the game's vision. We believe that these changes we make, which will make the game more immediately accessible for everyone and overall more enjoyable without detracting from the heights the large and dedicated groups of players can achieve. All players will be able to experience the parts of the humongous shared persistent world, whether you're a solo player, a small group, a large company, or a multi-company alliance. Some of our design changes will revolve around allowing players to experience a piracy side of the game immediately whilst not trivializing the content, making sure that solo players and smaller groups feel safer when logging out, or after they've taken a break, they can come back and know that it won't be such a difficult feat to get out on the seas again. Incentivize companies to neutralize their territories, inviting others to make use of their land so they both can benefit. More MMO aspects, player markets, player-specific automated trade routes, additional quests, and daily missions. So going over this, the piracy thing, I'm assuming this is going to make... I don't know if this is going to make, like, the normal ships... Why did this actually open all these? I don't know if this is going to make the normal ships that we make right now cheaper, or if they're just going to have like armed ships you can make at free ports. So maybe like a ramshackle schooner or something with cannons on it, or something like that, maybe with like an NPC or two on sales, something like that I would assume. So you can buy like a kit or something to be able to actually have a ship that can go around, maybe kill ships of the damned or do some kind of combat. Not certain on that yet. That could have its own issues with people being able to have armed stuff pretty quickly, but they could also make it so it's super weak against any actual like player made ships. But we do not know. But I think it's good. The game is pretty hardcore. It's actually extremely hardcore. I don't think a lot of people realize how hardcore this game actually is. It's much more than Ark, even if you just look at vitamins. Like, just having vitamins over food and water and temperatures as a new system makes this game excessively more hardcore than Ark was even, because now you have like 4 extra things to look at, or you just die if you don't take care of them. And that's not even talking about how much harder it is to defend bases and all that type of stuff. Making sure that solo players and smaller groups feel safer when logging out, or that after taking a break they can come back and know it won't be such a difficult feat to get on the seas again. So I'm wondering if they're specifically talking about getting boats again in this. If so, then what I just said, being able to buy like ramshackle schooners or something, would make sense as well for that. But they're also talking about making sure that solo players and smaller groups feel safer when logging out. there's not really a way they can do this without making bigger companies feel this way as well, because even medium-sized companies, even with big alliance groups that are just kind of a bunch of medium and small-sized companies allied so you can help each other out if you're being attacked, which is mainly what our groups are for. If you're being attacked by bigger companies and stuff like that, the alliance, anyone who can go help does go help. It's kind of just a big coalition across bunches of different grids just to help people not get destroyed all the time. And we're a medium-sized company. We're not massive. We're not anything like the massive, you know, mainly I guess Chinese groups that have like literally like 5+ capped companies with 500 people with massive alliances of other like thousands of people just in these alliances that just go around and attack everybody. So hopefully this means more defensive stuff, especially for offline. I know they did talk about with the Tarot system that they wanted to do something where you could like go get an enchantment every day, and for a day your base will be protected somehow, your boats will be protected somehow. So stuff like that, making it so you actually have to earn it, but then making it so it does help it specifically much more when people are offline. It's definitely a way they should go. This game is a lot easier to offline attack people than it was in Ark. Much harder. Because in Ark, you had an auto turret that could defend you. I mean, some stuff after a while would just soak all auto turrets, but a auto turret had basically full coverage, 360 degrees, could shoot players, could shoot tames, could shoot everything. So one type of weapon could defend decently. And in this game, there's not really anything like that. You can get a puckle for players, but it doesn't have 360. It only shoots players. It really isn't going to do anything against boats. So then you have to have cannons, but they can shoot the NPCs off cannons, and you have to keep these NPCs paid and fed, or they die or mutiny. So it's much more hardcore. Incentivize companies to neutralize their territories, inviting others to make use of the land so they can both benefit. So what they mean by neutralize is there's settings on claim flags that you can set it to allow just allies, so companies you're allied with to build there, anyone to build there, or specifically you can set companies or specific player IDs to be able to build there. Right now, pretty much nobody does this because maybe if people have some friends that don't want to be in their company, there's not really a reason they want to be allied, but maybe some random player says they want to build some small base on your island. Maybe sometimes people will do that, but you have to have like an admin to be able to even set the flag correctly. But it sounds like they're going to incentivize somehow making it so you want other players to build on it. Because if you, let's say, a company or something like that build on it, they can then have a spot to raid you from, and you still have to go destroy their stuff off it, even if you change it back. I think if you change it back, like their buildings start to decay, but that's not right away, so they could raid you because, you know, you thought they were going to peacefully live on your island or something like that. So hopefully there's some big benefits to allowing smaller groups or solo players to build on like one claim point on your island or something, so that both the people get something. I would assume they're going to add something for the player, for that like solo player or small company, that it alerts you if they're being attacked or something like that. And then for you, you get something besides just taxing or something like that. Maybe it'll just randomly generate you like rewards or some small amount of gold every certain amount of time that they have buildings on your land or something like that. Because if they're making the smaller like company or players who are living there pay you more, it's not really going to work that well. This one is the one I'm most excited about. More MMO aspects. Player markets, which we already talked about. That's a super good thing. So you can add basically shops and free ports that people can buy any resources for the amount of gold you set. Player specified automated trade routes. No idea what this is actually. Player specified automatic trade routes. I'm wondering if this is like NPCs, if players can set NPCs, or if this is like players can set some like traders on boats. I actually have no idea what this is going to be. It could be a lot of stuff, but it does sound pretty cool as well. Additional quests, which is always good. I think if they want to be an actual MMO, they kind of they have to start adding a lot of quests and daily missions, which we talked about both of those in my last video. Hopefully they'll keep adding more stuff to make it feel more like an MMO, like more like a MMO RPG style. Like, I don't know, like not a ton of stuff like WoW, but some of the systems of games like WoW, RuneScape, stuff like that. Just some of those systems that make it feel more like a live MMO with more stuff to do, especially PvE stuff, because PvP just happens so much in this game. Like the PvE stuff doesn't, like a lot of people aren't even doing that because it's so hard just to survive right now. And we'll be continuing as always with continues focus on bug/exploit squashing, stability and performance, relevant quality of life and content additions to meet game and community needs. Plan to have our first real serious round of adjustments with this philosophical change in mind around March, as we're already well into preparing that February content update, so that I'll proceed with some changes, and this will continue relentlessly going forward. So March, so they have the big patch coming February, then March they'll have probably a massive balancing change with probably a ton of new content as well. So most likely, what I'm seeing from this, most likely every month, starting in February, we're probably going to get a massive patch with massive balancing. Most likely this one in March is going to be huge in just the overall change of the game. Most likely the game is going to feel quite a bit different when that patch hits, if they're actually doing what they're saying they're going to do. Between now and February's mega update, you'll see a number of changes, or a number of patches, which will improve various aspects of the game based on your feedback. These are the patch notes. We went over the update has some slight changes to make it more aligned with the goals. Some aspects of the update remain as we see them as a necessity for the team to develop and understand core elements such as the underwater experience with trench-shielded submarine. Additionally, some content creation has been well underway for some time, and it isn't the most efficient move to scrap them. However, the Mega March update and the ones to follow will focus more on our core design changes. So they're calling it the Mega March update. How they're talking about this, it's sounding like in March we're going to get a ridiculously big update, much bigger than the one that we're seeing in February, which we don't even have all the stuff for. So most likely in March is going to be a massive change to the game balancing as a whole, to the core of how the game kind of is, and probably a lot of new content. So it's something to look forward to. We already went over all these patch notes. These are the ones for the February. We have something that's pretty interesting. GPU performance improvements. In the coming days, we'll be releasing a special beta branch, which players can opt into for a minor client-side update, which should increase GPU performance by approximately 25%. We'll be thoroughly testing this internally, and it feels like it's in a good place. However, we would like feedback from you guys before shipping it live. When the client is available to download, we'll put up a thread with instructions and how you can download it. You'll still be able to play on the latest official network or the latest unofficial servers if you're using the beta client. So this is pretty big if it's actually 25% increase. So this basically should be, depending on your system, 25% FPS increase. Basically, it's not going to be exactly that because some people might be much more bottlenecked by their CPU, so their GPU getting a big increase might not help much, or if any at all, if their CPU is that much lower hardware than their GPU. But for most people, I'd say this is probably going to be a pretty big increase in the game. This could also affect stuttering or loading, stuff like that. Loading textures could be faster. Stuttering could be less because there's not the frame times could stay more consistent with this. So hopefully this is going to be a nice increase, and it's nice that they're doing a beta branch version that's opt-in download at the start. I'll definitely be doing that to be able to test it and see if there's anything wrong. Wood, stone, sap, and explosives. Our initial thought behind the change was that we wanted to buff wood so that it would be closer to stone in terms of strength, so that early and mid-game players would be at less of a disadvantage if they weren't using stone. Whilst we're not going to be entirely walking back this change, we think we may have overshot with the changes and as a result, we'll be making some adjustments in an upcoming update. We plan to address the availability of sap and also look at base defense, which means possible changes to explosives, and other gameplay mechanics encompassing rating to see what else we want to make adjustments. It's something we're still exploring internally, but plan to have it patched relatively soon. It's possible that our first round of changes may not be enough, and if so, don't worry, we'll be continuing to adjust them. So the sap thing should be the next couple days, because we did just recently get a patch, I think yesterday, that went over some stuff. But when Jat first tweeted the patch notes, a screenshot of them, it had increased sap availability in like the tundra, but he removed that because he didn't know if they were ready to release it yet, which it wasn't released. So I'm assuming they're going to be adding sap to a lot more areas, especially the snow area, which is the weirdest. Like, it's the weirdest thing not to have sap in the snowy and tundra areas, because they just don't have it for all the stuff you need sap for, and you need fur to like survive in those areas, which require sap. So I have no idea why sap would not be there. It's kind of a weird thing. I'm glad they're adding it. I don't think we're going to see metal and sap removed from stone structures, but the metal wasn't really a big issue. If they actually add a lot more sap, and sap is easily available for pretty much everybody, it should be enough to, bring stone back to where people are fine with how much it costs. And if they're increasing basically its durability, putting it back up against explosives and stuff like that, I think this will appease players quite a bit. Bringing stone, making it harder to raid again, and making it so everyone can obtain the resources in a decent amount of time to actually build stone stuff. But we'll see how much those changes are actually done, how much they actually do to make it easier to make stone. Wild creatures, we want to make some adjustments of the power of wild creatures, including on Golden Age ruins. First of all, we wanted to hone in on the strength of alpha creatures. As of Monday, we released an update which significantly reduced the amount of power that alpha creatures held, which we went over, as well as how common they were. Going forward, we'll be adjusting spawn weighting across the map for all creatures, so that you'll encounter less giant groups wanting to murder your face. After making these changes, we'll see where we need to go next, but believe it's a step in the right direction. So that's good. On Golden Age ruins, I don't know if you guys have ever been there. Most of them I've been to are just jam-packed with everything that'll destroy you, because Golden Age ruins, the normal animals there can be much higher level than wild ones anywhere else. They can be like over level 100. There's skeletons all around that can be super high level as well, over level 100. There's dinosaurs there. I don't know how high the dinosaurs go, but there's the leather wings, which are basically pterodons from Ark, changed a little bit. I don't think those attack you or are aggressive, but there's trikes as well there that I don't know if they're aggressive. And then there's the, what are they, razor tooths? I don't know what kind of dinosaurs they're supposed to be. They kind of seem like a carno, but they look like they run more like a Theory maybe. So it's kind of some weird mishmash. But then they have cyclopses everywhere, not to mention whatever boss is on the island. So those things are ridiculous, just how much stuff spawns there. You shouldn't be seeing cyclopses running around everywhere and stuff like that. They should be kind of more rare. And it should feel like once you run into one, it's like, oh, there's this big mini boss or super strong thing we have to group up to kill, and not, oh, here's 20 more cyclopses we see on the beach. PvE updates. There are some specific PvE changes we want to make as soon as possible. First of all, we want to create 2 server options, which will be enabled on our official network. Sleeping/logged off players will no longer be replicated on any server grid similarly to free ports. This should improve server and client performance, as well as reduce some causes of griefing. Force destruction of any character that hasn't been logged onto in 3 weeks, 2 weeks if it's a home server. We'll be fixing a bug which allowed sleeping characters to contest claims if the claim has been inactive. So going forward, only logged in characters will be able to contest claims. This is PvE stuff. I haven't played any PvE, so I really can't talk about it. Linux servers, not much of an update here. We just want to acknowledge it. Our engineering team are looking into a major issue reported on Linux servers, and we hope to have these resolved as soon as possible. And basically just Linux fixes coming soon. Then something new, company rankings. Large companies are very much still a major part of the vision we hold for Atlas. We believe that being able to conquer and maintain large territories is an important part of the game, and we'll be rewarding those who are able to do so. By this weekend, we'll have released a patch that does the following. List the current top 5 companies in-game on the map. Names soon to be flags. So that's in-game. We'll actually be able to see. Have a historic archive of companies for when they ruled the Atlas using both in-game days and real-life time. Special cosmetic icons will be given to members of the top 5 companies, which can be turned off on a per-user basis. So you have these different symbols right here. Unique cosmetics. Figureheads will be granted to the top 5 companies and will remain persistent as long as the company maintains their rank within the top 5 assets. I'm wondering if these are going to just be added to the ships and then you can override them with new ones if you want, or if they're going to give you spawn-in items every time you spawn while your company is in that. So it's like a starter, like a survivor item, I guess, if your company's that. So it looks to be all the different color ones. Oh, they do change them up actually. So there's 2 different ones right here. I assume these are the first rank, the second rank, then the other ranks are all the same. So then there's bronze, silver, and gold. So it's probably rank 5, rank 4, rank 3, rank 2, rank 1. Which is kind of cool that they're adding this type of stuff. There's like the top 10 companies have been pretty much the same for the past couple weeks. Only like the first couple weeks of the game where there are a lot of changes. Now most of the companies are staying the same, because if any company breaks into that list right now, most likely they're going to be attacked by a bunch of companies. All the ones that are already there are just so set up and so big with a bunch of allies that you really can't like go reduce the amount of claims they have or go significantly attack them unless you had like half the server that's not with them attack them. So it's most likely, I mean, this is cool, but they probably need to make some type of other ranking system as well, because just land claims, like if you go look on the top 10 list, especially in NA PvP, like half the top companies have 80% of their claims in the ocean. So it's like they own 2 islands and then own like the ocean of multiple grids, or half the ocean of multiple grids, and then they're on the list. Resolved a bug which prevented some company claim flags from displaying on playatlas.com, where we plan on introducing more features in the future to expand on how influential large companies can be with our territories, as well as additional incentivizations to be a part of the 10-5 rankings. We're toying with the idea of a neutral company hall for the strongest and most influential to hold their diplomatic meetings, whether it's over trade, peace, love, or war, because we know how much you guys love your large gatherings. Least we forget a quick roundup of all the updates. These are just patch notes. We've gone over pretty much all these in other videos. Then we have the roundups, EU PvP. So this is what I play in Kraken's Maw. And let me see if I can see here. So I don't know about the name change. The cartel looks new. Black Butterfly, I don't know how they're still in the game, to be honest. Those are the people that caused like a 6-hour rollback because some of their members somehow got a hold of one of the admins to the actual game's like Steam account. So they're responding in like planes, tanks, and whales. So I don't know how they're even still in the game. CTSG, they literally have like a dozen other CTSG companies that are like capped out. They have so many players. It's kind of ridiculous. CTSG is like down here, but if they added all their companies, nobody on this map would come to even close to how much they actually have, because they just have so many players. TPG, TPG is actually, we're allied with TPG, I think, because they've been getting attacked a ton by CTSG. Even though CTSG is below them, CTSG has like 8 companies. TPG isn't split up into a bunch of companies, so they're actually like, that company is that company. It's not like CTSG that has that CTSG on the map, but then they have like 10 other companies with the same name with slight differences. No, don't know who they are, but they've been on the list for a while. Federation, I think, has been there for a while. OWO has been there for weeks as well. Destiny and Dynasty are basically the same company as well. They're just split because they had so many people. They seem a lot less aggressive than TTSG, or CTSG, though, at least on our side. We're kind of on the other side of the map-ish, kind of. Then High Seas Booty Bandits, which I think are allied with CTSG, so they own all of this. And as you can see, they're mixing with Destiny and Dynasty. Like, they're all building right next to each other, so I think they're all allied. I don't know how aggressive this side of the map is. From what I've seen, we haven't been attacked by any of like this group over here. So it seems they're a lot less aggressive, which is kind of nice, because some of the bigger companies, even if they're not on this list doesn't tell you the biggest companies. Because like what I was talking about with CTSG, that they have like a dozen companies. With CTSG, just some like CTSG Black, they literally, like, that's literally one of their company names. There's other companies that just have like a dozen companies with like slight variations on their names, that are the same thing, that are led by the same people, that are just had to split up with so many people. They just don't have as many claims. So yeah, the list isn't exactly accurate. Then we have show and tell, just showcases of cool building stuff. This one actually looks pretty cool. Just screenshots and stuff like that. Then there's videos, I guess, or just that video. But yeah, usually just a bunch of pictures they show of, this is people that send them in, this is actually player stuff. But that's the end of the video. Subscribe if you want to see more Atlas content. Leave a like if you like the video. Leave a comment down below what you think about Atlas as a whole, what you think about the changes they talked about in this, and what you think about the direction they say they're bringing the game in. And thanks for watching.